What do I think is the primary characteristic that Christ had to fulfill his divine purpose in life? I have thought about this question before, and I've pondered it before. I feel like this is one that gets asked in Sunday schools or in Young Women's about people ask you to list characteristics of Christ, and then they usually ask you to pick which one you think is the most important. So I've thought about this question before, and I remember having different answers. I don't remember all the different answers that I had, but recently I was reading some things and reading some talks and some scriptures, and it made me feel very strongly about what I believe the answer to this question is. And what I believe the answer is charity, or love, since charity is the pure love of Christ. And what made me think this, one of the things that made me think this was a talk that I was reading by Elder Joseph B. Worthland. I'd like to read a quote from it. It says, he asks the question, what quality defines us best as members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints? And he says, love is the beginning, the middle, and the end of the pathway of discipleship. It comforts, counsels, cures, and consoles. It leads us through valleys of darkness and through the veil of death. In the end, love leads us to the glory and grandeur of eternal life. That, him saying that love is the most important thing that defines us as members of the church, made me feel that that has to be the most important characteristic for Christ to have as well, since we are supposed to be emulating Christ and trying to be like him, that he has the characteristic of perfect love. And if that is what defines us most as members of the church, then that is the characteristic is that we are trying to emulate the most, then that must be one of his most important characteristics. One of the other things that really even more strongly made me believe that this was the answer was in Matthew 26, where it's talking about the Jesus remembering being when he is about to perform the atonement and make the greatest sacrifice ever made by anyone. And he's asking the question, nevertheless not, and he says, nevertheless not as I will, but thou wilt. And in something that one of my teachers wrote about this when we were learning about it, he asked the question, what sustained and strengthened Jesus enough to be able to perform the atonement, since it was such a hard thing to do. And even the Lord, even though he was perfect, he still asked if there was any way for him to not have to take the cup. If there was any other way possible, he would rather do that. But in Christ, God, of course, told him that there was no other way, and Christ agreed. So we were asked the question, what do we think motivated Christ to be able to perform this immeasurably impossible act to us? It wasn't impossible for him, for a variety of reasons. The fact that he was mortal, of a mortal mother and a mortal father, and the fact that he was perfect and sinless. Those are the things that allowed him to be able to perform it, but the things that motivated him so that he had the strength to perform this act is the answer that we were told after we had pondered was love. It was his love for his father, and he wanted to be obedient to his father's command, because this is one of his father's commandments. He wanted to be obedient to him because he loved him, and the love that he has for us, because not only did he want to be obedient to his father because he loved him, he loved us so much that he wanted to perform that because he knew that it would help us, and he knew that we would need that in our lives, because we need the atonement to do anything. The plan wouldn't be possible without it. So he did that because he loved us, and love is it is the most powerful motivator that Christ could not have completed. I don't believe that he could have completed his purpose in this life without it. I don't think that he could have done that without that primary motivator. And that goes for us as well, that if we have love, it makes our motivations to do the right thing and to follow the commandments that much greater, because the love that we have for the Savior and for God makes us want to keep their commandments. Another quote that I liked from the talk by Elder Worthland, it says, "When we inspire and teach others to fill their hearts with love, obedience flows from the inside out in voluntary acts of self-sacrifice and service." So it's saying that when we have great love, acts of service and selflessness and obedience just they will come naturally when you have that much love. And I think that that's really beautiful. So I firmly believe that love is the primary characteristic that Christ had that allowed him to complete his purpose and mission in life, and that is the main characteristic that we should